We got new Cyberpunk 2077 screenshots and concept art. We revealed a bunch of concept art on the IGN Gamescom livestream, so you can watch that and see those online. Tom, you dutifully made sure we covered it in full on the site today. So I want to talk a bit about, one, the new look at the game. I want to also check, have you guys all seen the demo at E3, the gameplay? Or
No.
No.
I was
you were
not
not
at
there,
E3.
so you did not.
We did, though.
You guys did. Yeah. So at the show again, Gamescom, they're not showing footage again of
Publicly.
Publicly.
They have a new, do they have a, it's a different angle of the BCD?
Updated demo,
Okay.
I think they said. I think it's similar, but not exactly the same.
Yeah.
And they're also letting people go through it. In our demo, everyone was going through it as a female main character, and now they're letting like whoever is watching the demo choose.
That's cool. That's kind of showing that it's not just totally on rails and that it does sort of, in fact, work. But again, they're not putting it out there into the world for anyone to actually see.
Yeah, so why don't you think we've seen gameplay yet? Tom, I know you have sort of a theory about
Well, yeah, I had a theory that we talked about briefly before this, that I think it's partly due to the fact that what happened with The Witcher 3's launch. Because The Witcher 3 came out, and all anybody on the internet was talking about for the week after The Witcher 3 came out was how ugly of a game it was, how much of a visual downgrade it was from E3 demos in years past. And there were literally forum threads and tons of things of people picking apart, like going into detailed E3 demos and being like, there's a bush right here, but in the main game, there's no bush right there. Or this crack in a wall, that's not as detailed in the main game. And it's like, yeah, they had to change things, but games change. Like, that's what happens. They showed demos 2 years before it came out. And of course the game's going to change.
It sucks when that becomes the conversation, especially because in retrospect, nobody remembers The Witcher 3 as an ugly video game.
Who would say that nowadays?
Nobody.
If somebody was saying the things that people were saying about the way The Witcher looks, like the week of launch, now they'd be like laughed out of Reddit. They would, people would be not even take them seriously.
What's so funny is that if you played that, like, I don't know if you got like the game at disc and didn't like on disc when it first came out, didn't patch it and put that in now, it might look like it's aged a little bit. But if you have an up-to-date version and you're, I don't know, if you got playing a PS4 Pro or whatever, like I popped it in. I think I just automatically applied the PS4 Pro stuff.
Yeah.
And they patched it after launch to fix the graphical stuff. And then they were like, here, we tweaked that. And then if you upgrade your hardware, the game upgrades itself without even telling you. So like it still looks pretty. Yeah. And that's because they've basically been retconning the visuals of it. They've been going back and patching it repeatedly.
I mean,
this is an image that I brought up, I sent to Andres just to show. This image was spread around on the internet more than any other image I saw. And it's literally people breaking down specific things in a demo from 2014 compared to a promotional screenshot in 2015 and being like, this asset look, it literally says completely misleading asset, edge looks horrible. And it's like, that edge doesn't look horrible. Like, what are you talking about? So I think one of the reasons that this Cyberpunk might be wary, more wary than usual, and CD Projekt might be holding back their cards for a little longer, is because they don't want this to happen to the demo we saw.
To be fair, and to play devil's advocate to all of this, and to be a little pro-consumer here, there's a lot of horse and buffoonery that goes on at E3 every year.
There is.
Where people will go in and rush to pre-order games, and then they get a version of it that looks completely different than the one they got, or they kickstart a game that doesn't look like the one they got, or the version they kickstarted gets canceled. There's a lot of stuff where people are sort of just like, is this what I'm buying?
Yeah.
You know, and then there's a lot of incentives to pre-order. There's a lot of reasons to put your money in early. And so I understand when there's consumer backlash against something like, I mean, the Watch Dogs thing, Ubisoft notoriously, I think, gets a lot from fans because they have kind of put the cart before the horse a lot of times and said, like, this is what our game looks like, and then it ships and it looks a little different.
Well, and that was even a year where they couldn't say what consoles it was on.
Yes.
They weren't allowed to say what the new next generation consoles was.
And we are rapidly careening towards that era in this generation right now, where when we see for Death Stranding and they say it's running on a Pro, we're like, okay, cool, but this is a vertical slice of a game. You got it running right here. I don't know where the seams are, where this world stops and the next area begins and ends. We don't know if that's going to be a sort of Breath of the Wildy type game that bridges two console generations, or if that's something that will get bumped to the PlayStation 5 or whatever it is. So it's tough to say, you know?
That was just a brief part of our discussion from the latest episode of our weekly PlayStation show, IGN Beyond. If you want to see the full episode, go to beyond.ign.com every Wednesday at 3 p.m. Pacific for the brand new episode of Beyond, a full 24 hours earlier than it will be on any other platform. Thank you so much for watching.